Hello, and welcome back to the Chartered Accountants Global Update. I'm glad you're here. This is episode 33, and we've got a really strong lineup for you today. We're going to look at what happens when a chartered accountant decides the best way to fix audit is to build something no one else has built before. We'll hear about a tech entrepreneur who says AI should make finance professionals more powerful, not less relevant. And we'll reflect on some important insights from a recent Women in Finance webinar that asked a question every leader should be sitting with right now. How do you lead your team through change when the ground keeps shifting? 3 stories all pointing in the same direction. The profession is evolving and the people shaping it are remarkable. Let's get into it. Let's start with a name and a headline that caught a lot of attention this week. Christiaan Coetzee, CEO and co-founder of Audit Toolbar, and the overall winner of South African Institute of Chartered Accountants Top 35, Under 35. Christiaan started his articles straight out of high school. That early start gave him something unusual, a front row seat to how hundreds of different businesses actually run. He got deep into governance, financial fluency, and rapid risk assessment at an age when most people are still figuring out their career. Those skills, it turns out, became the foundation for everything he built next. Here's what's interesting about his company. While much of the conversation in our industry has been about grand digital transformation and AI platforms, Christiaan's team looked at where auditors actually spend most of their working hours. And the answer is Excel. Not some cutting-edge platform, Excel. And so that's where they built. Audit Toolbar lives inside the spreadsheet environment that practitioners already know. The results have been significant. The company estimates that, across Africa, their tool saves a rolling 650 years of work every single year. That's not incremental improvement. For smaller firms that have traditionally struggled to compete with the big players, that kind of efficiency gain changes the conversation entirely. What struck me most about Christiaan's story, though, isn't just the product. It's the mindset shift. He talks about realizing he'd been thinking too small, watching peers make bold asks of global leaders, and recognizing that he'd been quietly self-rejecting opportunities before anyone had a chance to say no. His new default: pick up the phone, aim for the top-tier client, let the answer be earned, not assumed. There's a lesson there for all of us, whatever stage we're at in our careers. How often do we talk ourselves out of something before we've even tried? You can listen to the full conversation with Christiaan on the Young Difference Makers podcast. Next up, Nick Reimer, chartered accountant and member of the South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, co-founder of Invigilator, and another Top 35 Under 35 winner, this time the 2021 overall winner. Nick's journey is a useful counter-narrative to a lot of what gets said about AI and the future of finance careers. The story we often hear goes something like, AI is coming, it's going to automate your job, and you should be worried. Nick would push back on that, strongly. After qualifying as a chartered accountant, Nick co-founded an edtech company. Invigilator is an AI-powered platform for secure, scalable online assessments, and it's now used by over 100 academic institutions across South Africa. It was the most downloaded education app in the country 3 years running, 2022, 2023, 2024, with around 850,000 active users. The company recently received $11 million in funding to expand globally. What makes Nick's perspective valuable here isn't just his success, it's his argument. He doesn't think AI replaces financial expertise. He thinks it amplifies it. A chartered accountant who understands how to deploy AI tools, who can interpret outputs, who can translate complex data into sound decisions, that professional becomes more relevant, not less. He'll be sharing these ideas live in the upcoming Difference Makers Discuss session on March 19th, hosted by Sinead Donovan, Chair of the IFAC International Panel on Accountancy Education. Whether you're curious about where your CA career could take you, or you're actively looking for a new direction, it's a conversation worth joining. Our final piece today comes from a webinar that Chartered Accountants Worldwide, Network USA hosted last October. Women in Finance, Leading Teams Through Change. The session has been published to our platform, and I wanted to highlight it because the content feels as timely now as it did then. The central argument from that session is one I keep coming back to. In periods of rapid change, leadership is less about having all the answers and more about creating the conditions in which your team can navigate uncertainty together. 3 leaders contributed to the session. Linda Nell, a chartered accountant with expertise in adaptability, explored how to make change a feature of everyday team culture rather than something you react to. Shingi Gwindingwi, managing consultant at Cross Country Consulting, spoke to how you build genuine trust within a team when automation is reshaping workflows around them. And Nancy Chakabuda, Vice President of the Chartered Accountants Worldwide, Network USA, and a Senior Accounting Director for a Fortune 200 company, tackled a challenge that's almost universal. How do you influence change when you don't have full authority over the people around you? And critically, how do you manage resistance? A few themes ran across all 3 contributions. Transparent, consistent communication matters enormously when people feel uncertain. Psychological safety, meaning the belief that you can speak up or try something new without it being held against you, is not a soft extra. It's a strategic asset. And the resilience of a leader matters because your team is watching how you handle pressure, even when you think they're not. The webinar is available to watch in full on the Chartered Accountants Worldwide Knowledge Hub. If you lead a team or you're building toward that, I'd encourage you to set aside the time for it. And that's our update for episode 33. 3 people doing genuinely interesting things, building tools that level the playing field for smaller firms, making the case that AI is a multiplier rather than a threat, and reminding us that how we lead through change matters as much as the change itself. Thanks for listening. Until next time.